I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Romulus Board of Education scheduled for Monday, September 10th, 2007 to order. I'd like to ask the secretary to give us a roll call, please.
Ms. Kraut?
Here.
Ms. Roscoe?
Here.
Ms. Frere?
Present.
Ms. Buckley?
Here.
Ms. Lanasi?
Present.
Mr. Mankiewicz?
Here.
Mr. Kudrick present.
Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, we are in need of a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of August 27th, 2007 as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Kraut, supported by Mrs. Buckley, to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, approval of minutes of the previous meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of August 27th as presented.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Lanasi, supported by Mrs. Buckley, to approve the minutes of the August 27th, 2007 meeting. Does any board members have any questions or concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item is the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. President. First up, we have Mr. Clark with personnel actions.
Thank you, Superintendent Weiss. Members of the board, I have several personnel actions for you this evening, including 3 addendums that were placed in front of you this evening. To begin with, our first one, motion is needed by the board to accept the recall of Joshua Baker as a social studies teacher at Romulus Senior High School as submitted.
A motion that we accept the recall of Joshua Baker as social studies teacher at Romulus Senior High School as submitted.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Buckley, support by Mrs. Lanasi, to approve the recall of Joshua Baker. Any board members with questions, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Our second item also is a teacher recall. Motion is needed by the board to accept the recall of Christina Rice as a kindergarten teacher at Hell Creek Elementary School as submitted.
Make a motion that we accept the recall of Christina Rice for Hell Creek Elementary Kindergarten.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Roscoe, supported by Mrs. Buckley, to approve the recall of Christina Rice to Hale Creek Elementary as kindergarten teacher. Any board members with questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Our next item is for your information. The rationale is due to the additional kindergarten class at Hell Creek Elementary School, a vacancy was created in the paraprofessional union. As a result, Susan Sherrill is being recalled back to her original position at Barth Elementary School. Lisa Staten, who was assigned for this year to kindergarten at Barth Elementary School, will return to her kindergarten position at Hell Creek Elementary School. Our next item, also for your information, routine personnel action. One of our paras, Judy Wilson, kindergarten aide at Corey Elementary School, has resigned. Effective day was August 30th, 2007. Our next item, also for your information, layoffs are necessitated due to low enrollment in My Friends and Me, the effective at the end of the day on September 17th, 2007. However, the AM Latchkey program will remain open. Employee hours will be reduced from 8 hours per day to 2 hours per day to cover the AM Latchkey program, and those staff that will be laid off, Ms. Kathy Harris, Ms. Ura Russell Robinson, Ms. Amy Rouser, and Ms. Jana Jones. The next item, teacher recall. This is one of, also an addendum, I believe, in front of you. Motion is needed by the board to accept the recall of Jennifer Minkiewicz as a kindergarten teacher at Wick Elementary School as submitted.
I'd like to make the motion that we recall Jennifer Minkiewicz as kindergarten teacher at Wick Elementary School as submitted.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Lanasi, supported by Mrs. Buckley, to approve the recall of Jennifer Minkiewicz to kindergarten teacher at Wick Elementary. Any board members with questions or concerns? Seeing none, we will have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I will abstain because of a conflict of interest. Motion does pass.
Our next item is for your information. Due to the additional kindergarten class at Wick Elementary School, a vacancy was created in the paraprofessional union. As a result, Wendy Adams is being recalled as a kindergarten aide at Wick Elementary School. Next item, motion is needed by the board to accept the resignation of personnel as submitted. Ms. Kathleen Urbanowitz, special education teacher, effective date September 10th, 2007.
I motion that we accept the resignation of personnel as submitted.
Support.
Betty, did you support that?
Does somebody else
Go
do
ahead,
too?
you can, that's
All right.
fine.
We have a motion by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mrs. Lanasi, to accept the resignation of Kathleen Urbanowitz, special education teacher. Any board members with questions or concerns?
The only thing I'd like to say is I'm so happy we're adding more classes to keep our numbers down. It's a lot easier for our teachers when they have fewer pupils in the classroom. So I'm happy we're recalling these people. That's
We
all
are
I have
too.
to say.
Thank you.
Will this position be filled, or is this one that we can handle by attrition?
If the numbers continue the way, when I say numbers, our student enrollment, there may be a possibility that there's a school that we're looking at that additional teachers may be required.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members with questions? Seeing none, we'll have a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And our final piece is for your information, Miss Wendy Adams. I don't think we've called this one yet. All right. This is an addendum that you should have in front of you. If not, I can read it to you. It's for your information. It says,
When
due,
I don't have it. For Wendy Adams?
yes.
We just did Wendy
Wait
Adams.
a minute, we did it.
Yeah, wait, okay, so
Yeah,
we're all
it was
set.
just for your information, the
It's a
previous one.
duplicate. I believe that's all I have. Thank you very much. Which one?
It's FYI, okay. I'm straight.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda would be bills for payment. Mr. Papazoglu?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm recommending the board approve the bills submitted for payment for the period August 29th through September 6th, 2007, in the amount of $263,451.99.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the bills as submitted.
Support. We have a motion by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mr. Kuderick, to pay the bills as submitted. Any board members with questions, concerns concerning the finances? Seeing none, we'll have a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item looks like it's going to go back to Superintendent Weiss.
Yes, I have an enrollment update for the Board of Education. As of the end of the day Friday, we were at 4,105 students. We picked up at least 20 today. We don't have all of our numbers in yet for today, but we're still trending up. We're up about a almost 200 students from where we started school on the 4th of September, and if last year's enrollment trends are any indication, we should still pick up students through probably Wednesday or Thursday this week. Right now, what we're doing is tracking down the no-shows to find out what we can about them, whether they've moved or whether they're on vacation or attending another school or school district. So we're researching that, and then one of you had a question about how we follow up on those. The other side of the story is we've been steadily increasing at our elementary schools. Virtually every elementary school is a little bit ahead of where they were last year at this time. As Mr. Clark shared, that's required us to add some teacher positions back in order to keep class sizes reasonable, and we're still juggling those numbers at this time. We anticipate that we'll be properly staffed by probably Wednesday. We still have a couple of adjustments to make. Primarily it's on the south end of town between Merriman, Hale Creek, and Barth. But we anticipate that we'll affect those tomorrow or Wednesday, and then we should be ready to go. The numbers at the high school are coming in fairly good, and the middle school, although the middle school is a little bit lower than they were last year at this time. And the other thing that continues to be a work in progress is transportation. With the juggling of students to balance class sizes, we also have to change the bus schedules, and our transportation department has just done an outstanding job of keeping up and meeting the needs of parents and families in the district. My understanding is we are not having to run any transfer buses where students have to go to a building, sit and wait for another bus. They're going from home to their new school, and so that's been very productive so far this year.
Okay, I have a question, Mr. President.
Mm-hmm.
In our movement of students, I know we redistrict Avalon district, and I don't know how many kids we have in Avalon district to go to Corey, because I know we're trying to populate Corey, and I guess my concern is the kids that are going to Corey, are they being shipped from Corey to another school? How's all that working?
Well, there are some students who are being shipped from Corey to another school, and the reason for that is Corey was planned this year for basically one class per grade level, because as you recall, we moved our MSRP and some of our early childhood programs over to Corey, and we had classrooms licensed for that. And even though the My Friends and Me program doesn't look like it's going, they have very limited space available at Corey. So what we had to do was move some students from Corey to either WIC or Rommel in order to keep those numbers managed.
Okay, because I know at Rommel and WIC, they're kind of busting out the seams, right? I mean, it's kind of tight.
Yeah, they're full, but again, we're swapping students to try to equalize those.
Okay. 'Cause I know our concern was trying to populate Corey, so my next concern is when we take students out of Corey. So,
And
that,
And basically, we're kind of stuck there right now. One of the problems that you have when you have a building that has one classroom per grade is it's very difficult to go, without having a lot of splits in the building, to go from 1 to 2. It's much easier to go from 2 to 3 than it is to go from 1 to 2. And so what we've been trying to do is keep Corey full at every grade level. And I believe they are pretty full at every grade level right now. But we have had to take some students out of there. All I can say is that we'll try to do a better job next year with the planning of Corey, but we didn't anticipate, the number of late enrollments and recent enrollments that we had. In fact, Dorothy and I were talking the other day, and I remember back in April, we only had 13 kindergarten students signed up for Corey, and now they're full, and we've had to ship some out as well. So they've gotten a nice response to enrollment.
okay, so we don't have enough students to create another class at Corey.
We don't have the space.
Okay, so we have the students, but we don't have the space.
Correct. And we wouldn't have enough students to take a whole second classroom anyway, because we would need, I think the highest number at Corey, as I recall, was probably 38. And so, we would have needed another 10 or 12 to justify another section over there. we didn't have that many at any grade level, so the decision was made to send those students between Wick and Robinell.
Thank you.
So you're trying to keep the class size down, correct?
We are. We're not
I'm
always
happy to
successful
hear
at that,
Yeah,
but that is a goal, within reason.
yeah. What is within reason, please?
Well, we like to keep the K2, kindergarten through second grade, around 30 or
Okay,
less.
okay.
And third grade through sixth grade, we have a little more latitude. The contract provides for, I believe, 35 as a maximum. And most of those are under 35, but some of them are 35.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Any other board members? All right, seeing none, the next item on the agenda is dealing with a trip proposal for the 8th grade.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the trip to Gettysburg and Washington DC for the 8th grade American history students at the middle school as presented. And it's at no cost to the district.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mr. Kuderick, to approve the 8th grade American history students to go to Gettysburg and Washington, D.C. Any board members with questions or concerns?
I have a question, Mr. President. I don't know if hopefully someone can answer this. Is this for every 8th grade student?
No.
It's just
No.
for this particular classroom?
It's,
It's usually, what, about 40?
yeah, in the letter, it said something about 40 students that would be selected. And
If I
then-
can comment on that,
Okay, Mrs.
is the way
Roscoe?
he is, Mr. McCabe has done this every year, is the kids are recommended, and it doesn't just go on grades, it goes on performance and behavior and everything else, and they take 40 students. They have been recommended by different teachers and whatever through the 8th grade, and go on this trip. So it gives them all an opportunity, not
Well,
to
40.
be able to go. Well, I mean, it doesn't go on just a grade point criteria,
Goes on behavior. and
behavior and everything.
Do they have to write compositions or something like that? Is there something that they have to do other than keep their grade point up
To be able to
and
go.
behavior?
I don't know if he asks for anything like that or not, but I know they have to be
I was wondering
recommended
about that, yeah.
to go.
I would actually like a little bit more information about this, but I can get it from you. I can call you tomorrow and get that from you.
You want information on the criteria for recommendation?
Yes.
I can find that.
The only thing that I noticed in the parent guardian letter is evidently the one he used last year. I'm assuming this trip is supposed to be for the spring of 2008.
Yeah,
They have 2007. Any other board members with questions or concerns?
Yeah, Mr. President,
Mr.
got a
Cooter?
question. Is there a way that we can have some students from this trip come to us and tell us what they've learned? I mean, I'd like these groups that are going to different functions, I'd like to find out if they're actually learning something and
Good idea.
see what kind of feedback the students are learning.
Can arrange that.
so are we gonna put this on hold, or what are we gonna do, Mr. President?
Well, we have a motion. We have to take a vote on it.
Okay, go ahead,
Uh,
do your job.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And the next item is dealing with an after-school Bible club. It's going to be housed at Barth and Hale Creek Elementary on different days. I don't know, is there any? Yeah, there's two different dates, I think, or
Yeah,
two different
the
days
20
that they're handling.
And then the 18th, and then 19th and 29th. Barth
Um,
is-
Is there anything from the administration to kind of give us a little more information, or?
This is the program that we've been offering every year for students through the Boys and Girls Club. A lot of our students participate. It's a very nice option for the children as well as their parents.
And this is after school, do they supply busing, or do we supply it, or?
We normally transport the students to those schools.
And after the program's over, they have to have their own?
Yeah, we don't transport.
Or, oh,
This is
Oh, I
not,
thought we
this
did.
is not part
Oh.
of the Boys and
Oh, I'm
Girls
sorry.
Club.
My
This is
mistake.
something,
okay, so all of the
Christine.
transportation is separate?
It's separate, we don't transport.
Oh, okay,
Really, the motion is just for the use of the facility.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
the
program
buildings.
itself.
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. So what we're talking about here then is the use of the Barth and Hale Creek Elementaries, one on a Wednesday evening, I believe, and the other on Thursday. And they run from right after school, and the programs run 1 hour each.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we approve the use of the facilities for the after-school Boys and Girls Club, or Bible Club program to be held at Barth and at Hell Creek.
Second?
Facilities.
Second, Mrs. Kraus. We have a motion by Mrs. Frayer, support by Mrs. Kraut, to approve the use of Barth and Hale Creek Elementaries for the Boys and Girls Bible Club. Any questions, anything else from the board?
I would like to comment that my granddaughters have gone in the past and they've enjoyed it, so I think it's really nice that it's offered.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now we come to the portion of the meeting where we have communications and expressions from the public. And the first request that I had was from Jenny Logan and Justin Cootery. You need the microphone, and you need to be positioned in
That
the
little
square.
square.
In that little box. The two of you.
Hi, my name is Jenny Logan.
I don't
Turn
think
it
it's on.
Tap it, honey.
tap it, you can tell.
There you go.
There you go.
There
You're
you
on,
go.
Jenny.
My name's Jenny Logan, and I am the president of student government.
And I'm Justin Kudrick. I'm a representative from the class of 2008.
We are here to talk about the Senior Pumpkin Festival fundraiser.
Our fundraiser this year is the dunk tank that the police department donates to us, and it's going to be held at Olive and Goddard and downtown. And we were actually here to ask you guys if you would like to volunteer and help out for either a half an hour to an hour to be in the dunk tank to help.
You gotta be kidding.
I think that's Mr. Cooterick's job.
I can't believe you're coming before us with this.
Tom? Yeah.
Were you aware of this?
The Romulus community would love to see us. Have you boys.
We're missing something.
Oh, God.
What we're doing
You
is
have
that
a
we're offering it
fortune.
Saturday from 1 to 6, and we are offering it Sunday from 12 to 3. I'll actually leave the guys the sign-in sheet with you guys today. And even if you can, even if you don't want to participate, we'd like to just have you guys come out and spend some of your hard-earned money and support our class.
Can I just pay you? And ask that. Goddard and what? Please.
Olive, Goddard and Olive.
I
Olive,
would
was
really
it?
like for you to be
I'll
there.
pay. I'll pay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, my gosh.
I know I'm going to be in Lansing.
Can you believe they come before us with that?
All right, thank you.
Oh, Lord.
I know I'll be in Lansing.
You better leave your money before you go.
All right, next we have Marwin Boyd and Lisa Johnson.
That is too funny.
Yes, you need that. And you need to state your names and address, and then you can go into your,
Good evening, my name is Lisa Johnson, and my address is 75865 Vinewood. I live in the city of
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Go
Go right
ahead.
ahead.
One of my concerns is that my son Marlon Boyd is a senior at Romulus High School. He's very active in Romulus High School. He's been in Romulus sports city-wise and throughout high school. This being his senior year, my concern is that we found out at the last moment that he was not eligible to play football and that he cannot play football. And this came back from last year. There was an incident that a student was about to assault his sister and physically put his hands on Marwin. And Marwin protected his sister and just stepped in. He didn't fight with the student or anything like that. But as a result, certain things happened, certain things were said, and Marwin was suspended from Romulus High School. And his suspension was to be out of the district as a student. As a Romulus alumni, that hurt me very much because there was another adult present, security was present, and no one helped my son or my daughter. And my son felt that he had to step in to protect her, not physically, but just to come between the situation. And in so, Marwin was suspended, but the other student was not suspended. The other student, however, then came back the next day and punched a girl in her face and was suspended. So with all of this going on, Marwin was out of school over 10 days because the day he was to return, we had a hearing, and the day he was to return, we were not informed that he could return. I had to call and ask, when could my son come back to school? And I was told, oh, didn't anyone call you? To me, that's saying, you know, you were my second thought. However, Marwin got back in school. He's been on the right track. He has letters from colleges, but he's not allowed to play in sports. And I'm asking if the board will review the video that was taken in school, because I did ask that before, if they would review it, and if they would take into consideration the situation that happened. Just think about it. If someone was approaching you or any of your family, what would you do? Would you stand there and let someone hurt them? And this was his sister, and he asked for help and no one helped him. And as a result of that, now he cannot play football. He's not even eligible to participate with the team. So he has taken upon himself to help as water boy or whatever they need, because that's how much he cares and is concerned for his school. So in order for you to humble yourself and do that, I don't feel Marwin is a bad student. I don't feel that the punishment fit the situation as to what happened. And I would like someone to look into this to see if it can be taken care of.
I really enjoy playing sports, and knowing that this being my senior year, I was looking forward to playing football. I had left over the summer, and I was told by Mrs. Sally that I didn't have to go to summer school. Coming back, going to practice on August 8th, 2007, my coach, he said that I was not eligible to play football. He said that I should have went to summer school. My counselor said I didn't have to go to summer school because I had enough credits, and she said that I should have looked into it further. And to me, she should have told me to go to summer school from the beginning, whether I had enough credits, whether I had good grades or not. I should have went to summer school, and because of that, I can't play football until 5 weeks or to almost the last 2 games. And I was wondering, could I play sooner?
What, is it your ineligibility? Is it academic ineligibility because of him missing the 10 days of school?
Because of missing school, he qualifies for the state, the MHSAA. He qualifies academically for that because we called and we asked questions. But the district policy says that he does not qualify. And that is a result of him being out of school not being allowed to make up his work, which I was told to go get his work, have him do his work, and turn it in. But when we did that, the teachers questioned that, and they also said that they're not going to accept work from him. We followed the rules that we were asked to do. If I had known that the result was going to be for him his senior year not to be able to play and participate with his team and his school, this would have been taken care of a long time ago. I asked, who do I talk to? Who do I see? No one could give me that information. So I took it upon myself to keep asking city officials, asking school board members, asking people to help me. And I met with school administration, and some of them told me they didn't know what to do. And I said, well, should I go to the board? And I was told, I don't care what you do. As a Romulus alumni, I was very upset to hear that. Because if you don't care about me as a parent, as a voter, as a taxpayer, you sure don't care about my son. And for me to send my son to school every day and entrust administration, teaching staff to help my son and guide my son, and that wasn't happening, because if it was, this other student would never have been allowed to put their hands on him. He was suspended, the other student was not.
If I could, I'll arrange to have a written report of the entire incident so that the board members can look at the both sides of the story, and I'll have it to you by the end of the week with my weekly report.
Could you also advise us of the grade point average with your written report? Because that's really what this boils down to from what I'm hearing,
Right.
correct? I'm assuming him not being able to play doesn't have anything to do with the incident, I would hope.
No, it's a
Okay.
grade point average issue.
And I'm saying if that incident had been stopped, that situation, because we have a video, there's pieces of the video that's missing, and there's statements in here that's incorrect. And if, what I came up with, I said, if that student had been stopped by security, administration, whomever, that situation would have never, ever escalated. If someone came after me, or if someone came after my father who's sitting here, I would be very upset. Marwin was very upset, but not once did he ever put his hands on that other student. Not once did he ever get violent or anything. He was upset, asking for help. And that's a normal reaction that any of us would have had. Anyone. And I feel like he's being punished because he didn't get the help that he was asking for, because this would have never happened.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Can I ask one question? So, Ms. Johnson, what would you like from us?
What I would like for you is to view the tape. I would also like for you to take into consideration the situation that brought all of this about, him getting suspended, him not being able to do his work, him not being able to make up his schoolwork, which brought his grades down terribly. And now he's recovering from that. He's getting applications from colleges and letters from colleges. So it's not a student that does not care and that doesn't care about his city. He wants to play with his team his senior year. That's what he wants to do. He left over the summer to work out for 6 weeks with a personal trainer so he could be ready for football. And when he came back, that's when he found out that he could not play.
Okay, so you'd like a response from us?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That was the
Yeah.
That was the last request that we had for audience participation. Next, we go to Superintendent Weiss.
I have a couple of items to share. You have a copy of the middle school newsletter, and I want to highlight the Gear Up program, which I know the board has heard about before. We have approximately 100 students who are participating in the Gear Up program through University of Michigan. which will entitle them to money toward a college education when they reach that age and that time in their life. In addition, you have a copy of the middle school calendar of events for 2007-2008. I encourage the board members to take a look at that and plan your calendars accordingly. And you also have a copy of the link. And I also want to remind the board members that the Parade of Lights is this Friday night, and we'll all meet at 7:30. Hopefully everybody can attend to participate in the parade, and we'll be going, riding the float with the city officials as we did last year. Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to have transportation for us at the end, or are we gonna have to hijack a bus again this year?
Well, the bus you hijacked was the transportation that we arranged last year.
Oh,
so
I didn't think it was. I
That's all
thought
part
we
of the
just
plan.
hijacked her.
we will take care of transportation.
Okay.
Carl, what time did you say we had to be there?
I believe it's 7:30. We don't have confirmation from the city, but if it's any different from 7:30, I'll make sure I let you know.
And this is to meet at City Hall.
Yeah, it's City Hall, 7:30 Friday night. Hopefully all of you can make it. It's lots of fun. That's all I have.
All right, the last item, questions and/or concerns of board members. Do we have any board members who have? Mrs. Buckley?
I just got several things.
Speak slow.
Superintendent White, the issue about the 5 o'clock buses, what's our
Yes,
solution?
we are looking at the usage right now at the middle school. I checked with Mark Woodson, and he said that I was mistaken, that the bus was used pretty frequently by the middle school children. So we're taking a look. He was going to check with the coaches to see if there was a need for it, and if there is, we're going to offer it.
Secondly, our network administrator, is he on board? And I know we have quite a bit of issues with technology.
Oh, yes.
So are you going to give us an update at some time?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we're not prepared to give you an update yet, but he he started on the 29th of August and has rolled up his sleeves, and I spent some time with him Friday. We have a standing weekly meeting until he kind of gets his feet on the ground, and he's been to every building in the district and is meeting the staff and working on meeting the needs of the buildings, which is a tall order.
Okay. And two other items, and I'll be done, I promise. Can we make sure we get an answer to Ms. Johnson by the end of the week?
Yes, I will have a report for the board.
Okay.
And a response to Mrs. Johnson. She met with me, I think it was probably 2 weeks ago, and we looked into the matter then.
Okay. One other thing, I just wanted to let everybody know I won't be here our next board meeting, so I'll be celebrating my 30th wedding anniversary. So I won't be here, even though I really like you guys. I won't be here. That's all I have.
Here, I thought she was going to say her 30th birthday.
Yeah. That's what I was waiting to hear.
That's all I have.
Any other, Mrs. Frayer?
I just was noticing in our packets, we've been recalling a lot of teachers to help, but what about our additional support staff? Where are we at with that?
My understanding is that we've been filling vacancies, and really up until this board meeting, all of the teacher recalls have been to fill vacancies from people who have either retired or left the district. I'm not aware that we have recalled any support staff other than to fill vacancies that were created, again, by resignations and retirements.
Okay, do we plan to in the near future?
Well, we're looking at, we don't have a plan to, if you're asking me if we have a plan to recall all of our support staff, no, we don't. As vacancies occur or as a need emerges, we will take a look at, on a case-by-case basis, but there are no plans to recall additional support staff beyond what Mr. Clark shared with you this evening.
So we're pretty much completed for the year with our recalls?
Based on what we know tonight, yes.
And it brings another concern to me, only because I've had several conversations. It's been a good week, Carl, with us, but as far as still being short some, starting to get concerned that with us running ourselves shy of staff, as I somewhat do honestly believe that we are, things happen to slip through the cracks. And I'm all about trying to be proactive, even with students, because, I mean, that's pretty much why we're all here, is to be proactive and to help the students and get them to where they want to be. For instance, the situation that we had last week, and even in this situation, just those are just examples of how, you know, we don't want to lose anybody to another district because we're not being proactive on issues like, had she known maybe, for example, her son wasn't able to play football this year, maybe he would have gone somewhere else. But that's, I feel, a lack of our district doing our job, in a sense. I mean, I personally, and if you're not involved very, very closely, I have even had a situation where I had to call the high school just to be proactive to find out, hey, this is what's happening, what's going on. Am I getting my point across or no? Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, you're looking at me like you don't understand, but.
Any other board members? Seeing none, the only thing I would mention is that our next board meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 24th, 2007 at 6:30 p.m. And the next item is adjournment. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Support.
We have a motion by Mrs. Lanasi, supported by Mrs. Buckley, to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.